Large chicken-like bird found in montane forests. Entirely black plumage with blue facial skin, red eye, and reddish legs. Sex is similar, unlikely to be confused. Smaller and blacker than crested guans. Lacks curled head feathers of great Curassow, also found at higher elevations. Can be seen on the ground or in trees, usually in pairs or small family groups. Feeds on fruit. Large chicken-like bird, but small for a guan. Distinctive, mostly brown with contrasting rufous belly, and bright blue facial skin around red eye. Found in subtropical zones on both slopes of Andes, from Colombia to Bolivia. Rather unobtrusive and quiet, can be difficult to spot as it perches in the middle and upper levels of the forest, often in pairs or small groups. Large, long-tailed game bird of humid evergreen forest in highlands and foothills, mostly seen high in trees, as singles or pairs, where they can move quickly and slip away easily from view. Male is glossy black with bright red throat wattle and red legs, lacks whitish streaking on breast of the much larger crested guan. Female is barred brown and blackish overall. In spring, the male gives a piercing upslurred whistle, which it often alternates with an amazing crackling and crashing rattle in a gliding display flight. Rare, threatened, and spectacularly plumaged black and white guan with a long black tail. Head is striking with bold whitering, and shaggy white cap contrasting with its red and blue wattle, its blue, black-tipped bill, and its black face, usually seen in the canopy of large and well-preserved patches of montane and lowland Atlantic forest. The song is a high-pitched rising whistle, but also often makes distinctive wing-whistles like other guans. Large, turkey-like bird found only in the forests of northern Trinidad. It is black with white patches on the wings and crown, a light blue face, and an azure dewlap flap of bare skin that dangles from its throat. It is usually seen high in the trees, but on rare occasions can descend to the ground. Song is a series of drawn-out, rising whistles, and it also sometimes rattles its wings loudly in flight. Locally known as hoi, this impressive bird is highly endangered due to hunting, and is regularly seen in only a few places, such as near the town of Grand Riviere. Distinctive guan, all black with Chilean bill, yellowish-orange legs, and thin yellow dewlap, could be confused with sickle-winged guan, which is smaller and has warm brown underparts, occurs in the subtropical zone of the Andes from Venezuela to Peru, from around 1,200 to 2,200 m. Surprisingly difficult to see as it forages in the middle to upper levels of dense forest, rarely perches in the open, most often detected by its amazing voice, a strange alien-like call that rises and falls. Large, lanky, black and white bird of lowland rainforest. Note the bare, white face and white wing patches, which really stand out in flight. Crown and nape are also mostly white, but also streaked with buff. It has a fleshy throat patch that is typically blue, but it may be gray or black on some birds. Mostly arboreal, but sometimes descends to the ground to feed or drink. Song, often given at dawn or dusk, is a rising series of clear whistles. Occasionally rattles its wings loudly in flight. Large black and white guan with a red dewlap. Subspecies vary in the size of the dewlap, and in the amount of white on the crest. Other piping guans have a different face pattern and, or dewlap color. Largely arboreal, but may descend to the ground. Occurs in forests, especially riverine forests, where sometimes encountered in flocks of up to 30 individuals. Gives a rising series of clear whistles, and at dawn produces a wing-whirring display. A pale-faced and short-crested guan with a red throat and dark brown body with contrasting fine white streaks. Face markings are distinctive, has a long pale eyebrow and whitish mustache and cheeks. Also shows bare bluish-gray skin around the eye, and a dull rufous-tipped tail. Sex is similar, common in the canopy of cloud forest, generally in groups resting or foraging for fruits. Often very quiet, but easy to see when flying awkwardly from a tree or vocalizing. The alarm call is a soft piping whistle, or a loud gruff and harsh burst of calls. Also gives a wing rattle display, common just before sunrise or after sunset. Found only in Colombia and Venezuela. Large chicken-like bird with a long tail, chocolate brown overall with pinkish red legs, and silvery frosting on head and neck. Restricted to southern Ecuador and northwestern Peru, where it occurs in subtropical and temperate forest from around 2,000 to 3,000 m, typically in pairs or small groups in the mid-levels of forest. Replaces Andean Guan south of Cuenca and west of Yin. Also note subtle differences in patterning. Bearded has more extensive silver on brow and a streaked, not scaled, breast. Medium-sized turkey-like bird restricted to very wet rainforest, in lowlands and foothills of western Colombia and northwestern Ecuador. It is dark brown with white streaks on the underparts and a red dewlap, similar to the more common crested guan, but is smaller, browner, lacking chestnut on the belly and tail, and shows little or no crest. Bado guan is usually found in small groups high in the trees, and is very sensitive to habitat alteration. It is rarely encountered away from remote, relatively undisturbed areas. Large chicken-like bird widespread in the Andes from Venezuela to Bolivia, found at higher elevations than most other guans, from the upper subtropics to the temperate zone. Rather dull brown overall with distinct frosty white chevrons and streaks, covering head and breast. Slightly warmer rufous on lower belly. Reddish legs, sexes alike, usually in pairs or small groups, often bustling about noisily in the middle to upper levels of trees but can also perch inconspicuously. Feeds on fruit. Medium-sized guan of rainforest canopy usually appears entirely dark, note short-legged profile, contrasting red throat patch, and sluggish behavior, slips quietly through canopy, feeding on fruit, typically found alone or in pairs but may congregate at fruiting trees, generally wary, especially where hunted, but sometimes tolerates close approach, may be seen near the ground at forest edge or along roadsides. Very similar to Spitz's guan, Marale is smaller and shorter-legged, but this can be surprisingly difficult to judge accurately. Medium-sized long-tailed guan with a red throat wattle and pale legs, occurs in various wooded habitats from dense humid forests to dry forests and mangroves. Unlike other guans, has an indistinct eyebrow streak, and a plain rather than streaked back. Prominent white streaks on the neck extend to the lower breast, makes a harsh bark, ruh, ruh. Mostly arboreal guan endemic to the semi-humid forest, with podocarpus and alders of the mid-elevation East Andes in southern Bolivia and northeast Argentina, often in ravines and river basins. The sympatric dusky-legged guan is more common, but shows grayish-blue skin around the eye, tends to perch high in trees, singly or in pairs, and often found by far-carrying vocalizations given from high in trees. Note pale supercilium, dull pinkish legs, exposed red orbital skin and wattle. Large, stocky brown bird, largely arboreal, but often seems too large or clumsy for its tree-dwelling habits. Calls loudly when flushing from a tree, and makes crashing noises as it lands roughly in another tree. Found around forest edges and young forest, as well as in more mature forests. Typically found singly or in pairs, occasionally in larger groups. Larger and darker than Chachalacas with more prominent red skin on throat. Very large, long-tailed game bird of tropical and subtropical forests, often seen high in trees or flying through the forest canopy, usually not seen in areas near people except in some protected areas due to hunting pressure, typically in pairs or small groups and wary. Plumage dark overall, often looks blackish with bright red throat wattle, white streaking on body visible at closer range. Crest is bushy and usually not a striking feature. Large, turkey-like bird found only in western and southwestern Colombia, mostly in the Cauca Valley, distinguished from Andean guan by bright cinnamon, not brown, wings and tail and much larger skin patch on throat. It is also typically found at lower elevations, also similar to crested guan, limited overlap, but wings are brighter cinnamon. Cauca guan inhabits cloud forest, and usually stays up in the trees, but occasionally feeds on the ground. It is rare in most of its range, but is easy to see in certain protected areas such as the Otunquimba Sanctuary. Turkey-like bird restricted to dry forests of northwestern Peru. Dark brown overall, with a red wattle, a pink face patch, and white scaling on the breast. Its white wing patches are often hidden when the bird is perched, but flash conspicuously when it takes flight. Mostly arboreal, though occasionally drops to the ground to feed. Sometimes flutters its wings as it flies from tree to tree, making a loud rattling sound. While previously brought to the brink of extinction, from hunting and habitat loss, this impressive bird has made a comeback thanks to the establishment of new protected areas and a successful reintroduction project. Large guan with a long tail and red throat wattle. Dark brown overall with an olive tinge to the upper parts and warmer brown belly. Unlike most other members of its genus, dusky-legged has dull grayish legs, no frosted forehead and variable thin white streaks on the neck and underparts. Found in lowland and foothill forest, including forest edge and scrub. Listen for loud, harsh calls and brays, often given in a series. Occurs from southeastern Brazil to Buenos Aires, usually in pairs or small groups, often seen feeding at fruiting trees, but can be seen walking on the ground. Large guan has a dark brown back contrasting with rich rufous chestnut underparts and neck. Note the broad white cap. Occurs in dense humid forest, where it mostly forages in trees but may descend to the ground. Medium-sized guan with a long tail. Note the whitish eyebrow, dark brown above and chestnut below. Favors woodlands with wet areas and gallery forests, both rich in woody lianas. Normally feeds in the canopy, but may also descend to the ground. An alarm gives a raucous barking call, similar to other guans. Less common than the similar rusty margin guan. Chestnut-bellied has more prominent pale eyebrow and white streaked back. Large, quite uniformly dark brown guan with a broad, bold white eyebrow and prominent white streaks on the upper wing and breast, occurs in dry forests, where it mostly forages on the ground, sometimes in large groups.